Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about my addiction, some ideas that helped me to deal with it, and also the way the brain works and why can we get addicted. Hi everyone, welcome to Be Strong and Love Yourself, a channel for very strong people. I'm Dasha Bisali and I created this channel to share some information that helped me to become happier. I decided to make this video because I was inspired by the interview that I watched on two podcasts, Andrew Huberman podcast and Rich Roll podcast, and these interviews were with Lembke, and she is a professor of psychiatry in Stanford, and she helped a lot of people with addiction. And I really liked these two interviews. I have the links in the description box. I felt like I must share this information with others. And as I said, these interviews inspired me to make a video about my addiction, to share my experience. I'm not going to give any advices. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a neuroscientist or a therapist, but maybe my experience will help someone to overcome their difficulties, to understand themselves a little bit better. Or maybe you just don't have anything else to do and can watch my video. This video is going to be longer than my usual videos, and I apologize for that it's probably too long, and I have time codes in the description box so you can skip to different parts. And now I'm going to talk about addiction, what it is for me, my definition of addiction, then my experience with addiction. I will be talking a little bit about the way the brain works, and I will share some ideas that can help when you have addiction, that helped me in particular. So my definition of addiction is some behavior when you experience pain and you're chasing pleasure, and while you're doing it, you go against your values. So you are trying to get rid of discomfort by chasing pleasures, even if you do it against your values. I decided to repeat it just to make it clear. And in my case, my addiction was addiction to men. And sometimes I like someone, and if I really like the person, it doesn't happen often, it happens really rare, but if I really like someone, I get really addicted and I get very excited. I release tons of dopamine and I really want to be with this person, and every time I experience pain or discomfort, I crave for this person, and just when I hug him, I feel really peaceful and I experience a lot of joy. And by nature, I have some anxiety and pain, and I had the tendency, and I still have it. My addiction is not gone, it's still in there. But I always wanted to, every time I experienced discomfort, I wanted to reach out to the person I liked. But I was lucky that the subject of my addiction was never accessible to me. So I usually like someone who doesn't like me back. But because of my addiction, I was in some type of relationship with the person for 4 years, and it was really miserable, and I was really miserable. He could text me at 2 a.m. He would be drunk and ask me to come over, and I would come over. This is how bad it was. I didn't have any self-respect, I guess, and somewhere deep inside, I knew that I was going against my values because I value meaningful relationships. I also value when people take care of themselves, when they go to bed early, when they don't drink and take care of their health. And the behavior that I supported in this man and my own behavior was very unhealthy, and it was really not the way I see life and the way I see relationships. But I kept doing it for 4 years. And I'm lucky that at some point we stopped seeing each other. I must say that this January, we stopped seeing each other in May 2019, but this January in 2021, I checked out his Facebook page, and he also has a lot of videos on channels like Fox News or Bloomberg, so it's very easy to find him online. And I think that this is also addictive behavior. When you're starting to check out social media of the person that you like, you also release some level of dopamine, and you usually do it when you experience discomfort. And this was the last time I did it, and I promised myself never do it again. Then in July I met someone else, and again I got extremely excited, and it was so interesting for me to, as a reminder to myself, how my brain works and how addicted I can be. And again, it didn't work out, but I feel like I got better. I told this person that I liked that I think I got addicted to him, and that he is almost like a drug for me. And I try not to contact him by myself, and I'm doing well with that, and I'm not checking any photos or anything like that. So I get better, but addiction itself never goes away. And I really like the quote from Andrew Huberman podcast that he shared. One of his friends who was sober for 40 years, I think, but he used to be an alcoholic, said, really nice idea: no matter how far you drive, you are always the same distance from the ditch. And this is how sometimes I feel. No matter how hard I try to not to think about relationships or men, when I experience discomfort or pain, my brain always returns to the same idea: go and find this man that you like, talk to him, do something to be with him. I just don't act when I have these ideas in my head, because we have different parts in our brain, and I guess I trained a little bit better my prefrontal cortex, and I can control my impulses a little bit better, but I still have these desires, and then they are still bringing some pain in my life. But I'm okay with that, because this pain is not that big. I will be looking at my notes. I apologize for that, but this video is a little bit more difficult for me. I've done a lot of research for that, but it's hard for me to put everything together in a perfect way. So I shared my addiction story, and now I want to share with you the mechanism of addiction and how brain works. And in our brain we have a pain-pleasure system. It is linked to our dopamine system, so it depends a lot on dopamine that we release, and we have some level, kind of a balance, dopamine homeostasis, when we feel peaceful and calm and we don't really need anything, and we release some dopamine, but not that much. But then we cannot stay in this peaceful state our whole time, because we are wired to be addicted, if you will, and we are wired to experience discomfort. But thousands of years ago, if you don't experience discomfort, you would not survive. And people back then, they needed it for motivation, to go and get some food or to find a place to stay and to hide in the middle of the night. So we needed some discomfort in order to act. Nowadays, we don't really need the survival instincts that much, but the brain still works this way. So you have your balance, but then all of a sudden you can start experiencing pain. So on this side of my little seesaw, I will have pain, and on this side I will have pleasure. And I will invite this little pain penguin. He's still cute, by the way. Pain is not a bad thing. It's just a signal. Please keep this in mind. So little pain comes over, and as you can see now, your pain section is heavier than your pleasure section, and you experience discomfort. This is really how it happens in brain. And in order to override this pain, I will invite two pleasure penguins. What does it mean? It means that when you experience discomfort, you start to chasing some pleasures. You're looking for something, and in anticipation of looking for these pleasures, you can release a certain amount of dopamine. And dopamine is neurotransmitter of anticipation of pleasure. It's not so much released when we get reward, but when we are waiting, anticipating of some reward. So you're chasing pleasures, you experience pleasure, and now your pleasure part is heavier. The problem with this is that now, in order to balance out the system, and brain would want to balance it out, you cannot stay in the state forever. You will have to create more pain in this pain-pleasure system in order to become balanced. And next time, you will have even more pain and more discomfort in your system. So in order to experience pleasure and to get excited, 2 penguins will not be enough. 2 penguins will give you just the balance. So if you want to get excited, in this case, you will need to invite more penguins. And this is how addiction works. You want more and more and more of something that you really like. So if I put 3 penguins in here, again, I will have to create even more pain on the pain section in order just to feel balanced. So now the more pleasure I add to this side, the more pain I will generate on the other side of the system. Now I will show you a very important trick. So remember that you cannot stay balanced all the time, and at some point your pain penguin will come over. The trick is, if you don't do anything, if you just ignore this discomfort, and this is what I had to do in my situation with my addiction, because my subject of addiction was not accessible to me. The only option I had was just to wait till discomfort goes away. And you know what? It does go away. So when this situation happens, if you just sit through discomfort, your penguin will go away, and you will have dopamine homeostasis. You will have this balance, equilibrium, you can call it whatever, and you will feel peaceful. And from my personal experience, I noticed that I actually feel, for some reason, even better after discomfort that I felt before. This, I don't know if there is a scientific proof to that, but for sure, if you wait for a bit, this discomfort will go away and your system will be balanced again. And this way you do not generate more pain, and you don't need more excitement in order to feel good. You don't need more pleasure, and you don't get addicted. And then you can get excited even with little things. At some point of my life, when I was so crazy about the man that I liked, I could not get excited when I was with my friends, when I was with my family. I could cry day after day just thinking about him and wanting to be with him. And people who loved me, again, my friends, my family, they would want to do something for me, and nothing would get me excited. This is really difficult state. And in order to avoid it, you need to stop trying to chase pleasures. You need to stop getting these pleasures for some period of time. They say that it should be 30 days. I don't really know. To me, it was, I still have thoughts about the person. I just don't look at him and don't talk to him. I guess it also depends on what type of addiction you have. But first week might be extremely difficult, but the longer you avoid these pleasures, or the longer you're not trying to chase the pleasures, the better you feel later. So please remember about this dopamine homeostasis. And again, I just want to mention that addiction is not only about pleasure, it's about avoiding pain. That's why I have shown this system, because sometimes we think that we are addicted to something because it's very pleasant, but we actually get addicted because we experience pain and we cannot sit through it. So it's important also to remember. The other thing that kept me addicted for a really long period of time was telling stories to myself. And when I was with this person that I liked a lot, I was telling myself that I'm staying with him because I love him and because he needs me, he needs my support, and as his woman, I should always be there for him. It was not true. He was perfectly fine without me, and he really was thinking about me, 3 times a month when he was tipsy. But I tried to tell myself the stories to explain to myself this addiction. Sometimes we tell the stories about childhood trauma to explain the addiction to ourselves. From my point of view, there is no need to explain addiction to yourself, and it's just a waste of time. I think that it's better to understand what your values are and to understand that your behavior, is it against your values or not? And be very honest with yourself. And this is kind of my next point. As I said, we have this pain-pleasure mechanism. We are all wired to be addicted, and this is just the way the brain works. So there is no need to be ashamed of your addiction. I want to say that most of people are addicted. It's just some people get lucky. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, and they are addicted to their dogs or to their kids, and some people get addicted to their job. But there is no huge difference between being addicted to video games, job, pornography, or cocaine. It's more or less the same things: avoiding pain and chasing pleasure. And if you are not mindful about it, the result is the same. You experience more and more pain. And I have empathy to any type of addiction, and to me it doesn't matter if the person is addicted to alcohol or if the person is addicted to job. I think that we all need to be compassionate to each other and experience some empathy, because it's just some people get luckier that they are addicted to their job versus cocaine. But the nature is the same, and it's very, very sad that people are ashamed of their behavior, and they are hiding it from other people, especially from people who care about them, and they cannot get support that they can have if they are not hiding their addiction. If you are not ashamed of it, you can be honest with yourself. As I said, I wasn't honest with myself for a really long period of time. I was telling myself stories. But once you become honest with yourself and you experience self-compassion, this is how you can start helping yourself. So honesty is extremely important in the, when we talk about addiction. Now I want to share some things that helped me to work with my addiction. Again, it is still there, but there are some things that helped me to be better with this. And one of best solution is stop consuming the things that you're addicted to restore your dopamine homeostasis. Again, when the pain comes over, this little penguin, just smile to it and say, I know you're there. Hello, my little suffering. I will wait and you will go away. And he goes away. So stop consuming whatever you are addicted to, at least for a while, and try to help yourself to restore this balanced system. Unfortunately, sometimes there could be cases when the system cannot be restored. So please try to help yourself as soon as possible. And as I said, don't be ashamed. It's extremely important. There is nothing to be ashamed of. No matter what you have done, you can always start from the scratch, and you can start new day. And it doesn't matter what happened in the past. We are all humans. We all make mistakes, and you deserve a better life. There is no reason to be ashamed. I can repeat it 100 times. And also what happened to me recently, what I realized is it's very important not to get excited about things that didn't really happen. That we like to use our imagination and dream about something, and I don't want to say don't dream, but kind of I'm saying that. I know it sounds horrible, but I must say that right now my life might seem boring for a lot of people, but I have never been so peaceful as I'm right now, because I don't get too excited about things that probably will never happen. And instead of that, I still want to enjoy my life and to experience pleasant moments. So I'm trying to be grateful for what I get now instead of expecting something in future. And this helped me a lot in a lot of areas of my life, especially when I start talking to someone I like. And absence of expectations helped me to be much happier. And I want to tell you kind of like a joke that as an example, imagine a woman and a man sitting in the restaurant, and a man says, today is our special day, it's anniversary of our relationships, and I want to ask you something that I hope you will say yes. And she gets extremely excited, and all of a sudden he gets a call and he says, oh, I'm so sorry, this is my boss, he is calling me. I will leave for a couple of minutes, I'll be back. And he leaves to talk to his boss. The lady gets so excited, she starts texting to her mom. Her mom invites her grandma in a group chat, and then 2 minutes later they have like 100 people in this group chat, and they are discussing the wedding, and everyone thinks that she will get married and he is going to propose to her. So the guy comes back, he looks into her eyes and he says, honey, can I buy a motorcycle? She goes like, yes. What? Motorcycle? What are you talking about? And in this story, I mean, it probably will never happen anything like that, it's a joke, but the idea is that sometimes we get too excited about the things that are not real, and this excitement actually creates a lot of dopamine, and you sometimes feed this excitement. You create it within your own mind, so please be mindful about it. I done it to myself so many times. I knew that whatever I was dreaming about was impossible, and society tells us dream big, and we listen to all this and inspiring speeches and motivational words, but sometimes it's better just do your thing that is useful, not what brings you a lot of pleasure, and focus on one thing at a time and live just in present moment. Very important thing in the end, that when we experience pain, especially when you are addicted, again, coming back to the situation when you have a lot of pain in here, and it's hard to get enough pleasure, and your pain is kind of really big. When you're in this situation and nothing helps, let's say you stop using these drugs that you were using before. In my case, I stopped seeing men who were, not good for me, and somebody stops drinking alcohol, somebody stops playing video games. In this moment, your pain is huge. It's so big, it feels unbearable. It feels like it will never ever end. Please remember, it will not last forever, and the pain will go away. It will go away, and it's very important to remember. These guys, they will hang out a little bit, and then they will leave, and you will get to your balance. It's very important to remember. It feels like it will never pass, but it will, I promise. I also want to mention that if you are addicted to a man, one of the things you can do, what helps me as a therapy, is taking care of my face, my hair, my body. And when I take care of myself, I calm myself down. You just need to do it mindfully. In the past I used to spend a lot of money on things related to beauty. Now I have my budget, and I'm limited by this budget. I don't overspend, but at the same time some little things help me to feel better and to feel more peaceful. It's only related to my type of addiction. It will not help with other addiction, I think. And again, you need to be mindful. But when I take care of my skin, for example, or when I work out, I think, okay, I can stay younger longer and I worry a little bit less about being single, so I don't have to hurry up and look for a man. So this helps me to stay calm. It's not that important, but I wanted to mention just as one of the tools that helps me. Again, please, if you have time, I highly recommend you to watch Anna's interviews. That links are in the description box. And believe in yourself and believe that you can overcome these difficulties. Try to restore your dopamine system, pain-pleasure system, by avoiding pleasures as much as you can. And remember that emotional pain will pass sooner or later, and you can see through this discomfort. Believe in yourself, please. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a like, thumbs up. It will help with YouTube algorithm. And please leave the comments. And I'm sorry that this video was so long, but I really hope it was helpful. And I wish I could send my love to all of you. Maybe I can, and I'm sending my love to all of you. And I want you to remember how important it is to experience self-compassion and to love yourself and not to be ashamed of your behavior. We are humans, and we are not perfect. But it's up to us to love ourselves and to help ourselves. So be strong and love yourself. Love wins. Always.